Hello and welcome to Wildcat News. I'm Jackson Houston.
And I'm Catherine Duckworth. We begin with sad news for our Wildcat community tonight. A car crash took the life of 22-year-old UK student Sydney Cassidy of Bowling Green. Cassidy was turning off Seminole Trail onto McClellan Circle in Georgetown when a pickup truck struck her vehicle. Police are investigating the crash as an accident with no drugs or alcohol involved. The driver of the truck was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
With flu season in full swing, public schools face challenges with staff and student illness. Since the beginning of the month, at least 25 districts around the state have closed or used non-traditional instruction days in an attempt to curb the spread of sickness. This includes the Scott County School District, which closed schools for 2 days. In an email to parents, the county cited a high percentage of absences in students and teachers with a shortage of available substitute teachers. Scott County is one of the many districts hit with what some are calling the triple-demic, with cases of the flu, COVID, and respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV. Colleen Rice is the district health coordinator for Scott County.
RSV is a respiratory illness that mainly affects the really young or the elderly, but we've been seeing it in all of our staff and students this year, which isn't uncommon, but it's more prevalent with the preschoolers.
Now that many schools are familiar with online resources for instruction, thanks to the COVID pandemic, non-traditional instruction days, or NTI, have become a tool. Districts have been able to assign work to students even when schools are closed. One of Scott County's closed campus days was an NTI.
Humans aren't the only ones impacted by illness. As Thanksgiving approaches, will your turkey tradition be impacted by the avian flu?
As Americans get ready to celebrate the holidays with family, fun, and food, getting a traditional Thanksgiving turkey might be harder than usual. Across the nation, concerns are growing about the impact the avian flu epidemic will have on Thanksgiving. The CDC says more than 49 million birds have died from the illness this year, including both farm-raised and wild birds. 46 states have been affected, including Kentucky. Here in Lexington, people are lining up to add fresh holiday birds to their orders at Critchfield Meats.
In our order books day by day. So I think each book is currently about 2-3 inches thick and growing every day.
Fortunately for those on the wait list, this butcher has not been significantly impacted by the avian flu.
We'll have plenty to cover. I don't know if we'll have the size that people want, but we'll have turkeys.
Later this week, the back room will be filled with fresh turkeys waiting to go home for Thanksgiving. Until the turkeys arrive, employees are preparing ground beef, steak, and stuffed pork chops. In Lexington, I'm Catherine Duckworth for Wildcat News.
Georgia is one of the key states for control of the U.S. Senate. If neither candidate gains 50% of the vote, a runoff will be triggered and the top two candidates will face off again in a separate election on December 6th. In another tight race, Arizona Democrat Katie Hobbs was announced as the new governor on Monday. Hobbs defeated Republican Carrie Lake. In other election-related news, Nevada Democrat Susie Lee won re-election to the House of Representatives.
Congress will return to work on Monday to wrap up work for the year. This is the first time they will meet since the midterm elections. During the meetings, members will discuss reauthorizing the Defense Department, passing a major election overhaul measure, codifying federal recognition of same-sex marriage, and voting on nominations. Congress is planning to wrap up work within the House January 6th committee. Congress will convene again on January 3rd, 2023. Here in Kentucky, the defeat of Amendment 2 in last week's election set the stage for arguments today's in front of the state Supreme Court regarding abortion rights. For the court heard arguments challenging the state's trigger law that banned nearly all abortions after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The court will decide whether to temporarily pause that ban. The very current law has few exceptions, only to save the pregnant woman's life and to prevent disabling injury. There are no exceptions for rape or incest.
Today is America's Recycle Day. Here in Kentucky, the defeat Recycling Day, right now, outside of Whitehall and Jacobs Science Building, you have a chance to recycle all of your goods. An EPA study found that recycling has created 681,000 jobs in the U.S. You can participate in Recycle Day all week on campus by recycling in the containers I mentioned before outside of Whitehall and Jacobs Science Building. These containers will be out through Friday. A University of Louisville student is in the hospital after being shot late on Saturday evening. The shooting took place at an off-campus house party near the Louisville campus. According to Alicia Smiley, spokeswoman for Louisville Metro Police, the victim was alert and speaking while on the way to the hospital and is currently still in the hospital recovering from what appears to be non-life-threatening injuries. Yesterday morning, a school bus crashed in McGuffin County, Kentucky. McGuffin County School says that 11 of the 18 children on the bus have been treated at the hospital and released. The bus driver and the remaining students are still being treated at the hospital. The bus was the only vehicle involved in the crash. Kentucky State Police are still investigating the crash.
On Monday, 3 University of Virginia football players were killed and 2 other students were injured in a shooting at University of Virginia. The 2 injured students remain in the hospital. The shooter has been arrested and remains in police custody. Classes at the university were canceled for 2 days because of the incident. The shooting occurred on a bus following a class field trip. It's unclear what prompted the suspect to shoot. 4 students from the University of Idaho were found dead near campus on Sunday. Officials are investigating this as a homicide and calling it a crime of passion. Mayor Art Bettage of Moscow, Idaho, does not believe that there is, quote, perceivable danger to the broader public, but did not reveal how the victims were killed and if authorities have a suspect. The victims were 3 women and a man. Autopsies are set to take place tomorrow.
Now let's take a look at what's happening around the world. Over 85 Russian missiles were fired at Ukraine this morning. This comes just days after Russian forces retreated from Kherson, a vital port city near Crimea. Kherson's retaking has been one of Ukraine's greater accomplishments during the siege. Ukrainian President Zelensky called the victory the beginning of the end of the war. While conflict continues in Ukraine, President Biden assured everyone that the United States will maintain its support so that the people can continue to defend themselves. Protests in Iran continue after the death of Mahsa Amini in Iranian police custody for breaking hijab rules. Yesterday, Iran issued its first death sentence against a rioter for setting fire to a government facility. The Tehran court found him guilty of enmity against God. Over 15,000 other protesters have been detained, awaiting their sentences. Iranian officials warned that along with enmity against God, they will find protesters guilty of corruption on earth and armed rebellion, also crimes that result in the death sentence. The G20 summit began today in Bali, Indonesia. G20 is a meeting between world leaders from 19 countries across the world, plus the European Union. G20 was formed as a way to promote international financial stability. World leaders such as President Biden and China's President Xi Jinping are both in attendance. Yesterday, Xi Jinping and President Biden had what some are calling a tense meeting.
Coming up on Wildcat News, we will have a look at the weather for the rest of the week.
And we'll have Joseph Hadway in the studio to give us an update on sports. We'll be right back.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look.
I'm a first-generation Filipino American.
You don't always feel you're a part of the country you live in.
It's this weird middle space sometimes that you have to live inside of. But when you meet others that are also living in that space, you'll learn to know that it's its own unique space too.
And we start with a flashback to this weekend with Lexington's first snowfall of the year. While the snow did not stick around for long, the cold weather certainly has.
Currently, it's foggy and a little misty and 45 degrees. Tonight, we'll have a 30% chance of showers and patchy fog.
Tomorrow will be very windy, with a high near about 41 and a chance of sprinkles after 1 p.m.
Looking at the rest of our week, we have a chance of snow almost all of this week. Thursday will be 38 degrees as the high. It'll still be sunny, as well as Friday being 35 degrees for the high. It'll drop down to 19 degrees on Friday night, and it's sunny. Saturday's similar, and we can expect snow.
All right, that's your Wildcat weather. Let's check with sports.
Thank you. I'm Joseph Hadaway here to update you with sports. The Kentucky football team lost to Vanderbilt University in Lexington 24-21. This is the first SEC win for Vanderbilt since 2019 and snapped a 26-game losing streak. This is a bad beat for the Cats, who were ranked 24th in the country before this game, have now plummeted in the AP standings. Coach Mark Stoops questioned the team's intensity on Saturday, saying, "I'm not getting it done with this team. We have to be more excited about who we are." The Cats have a tough task this weekend, facing the #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs in Kroger Field. Moving to basketball, the Cats took on Duquesne on Friday, taking the win with a score of 77-52. Illinois State transfer Antonio Reeves led the game with 18 points, and the veteran point guard Xavier Wheeler finished with the game with a double-double. The Cats have looked strong through the first 2 regular season games, but the first challenge will be tonight on the road versus Michigan State. The State Farm Champions Classic starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. DJ Wagner, the #1 ranked player in the ESPN 100 for basketball in the class of 2023, announced his college decision yesterday on SportsCenter. Wagner chose the Kentucky Wildcats over Louisville, giving the Cats the #1 recruiting class for the 8th time in the Calipari era. Wagner joins fellow 5-stars Justin Edwards, Aaron Bradshaw, and Rob Dillingham. While the Cats are looking to bring a championship home this season, the future is looking bright in Lexington. Moving to the NFL, the Pig hits don't stop, and the league is experiencing more concussions than ever before. This past Sunday, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster suffered a scary head injury reminiscent of Tua Tagovailoa's viral head injury in Week 4 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Concussions have been an ongoing issue in football, and the NFL has encouraged all levels of football to take careful action with the players in concussion protocol. That's your Wildcat Sports. We'll be right back.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Jeff Bezos has given $100 million to Dolly Parton to gift to her choice of charities.
She's the latest recipient of his Courage and Civility Award. Bezos is the second richest person in the world after Elon Musk. Parton is known for her charity work, including the Imagination Library, which has donated nearly 200 million books to young people around the world to promote literacy. She is still deciding where to donate that money. Where would you donate this money, Catherine?
I would probably donate it to a wildlife refuge or to a stranding center.
Okay, noble
What about
cause.
you?
Mine would be part more on the city side with the animal shelters, to be honest.
That's good.
Go ahead.
Finally, tonight, UK journalism's very own professor, Scooby Ryan, is given the 2022 James Madison Award.
Ryan passionately teaches students about the importance of their First Amendment rights. She has created multiple courses in the College of Communication Information about its principles.
The award will be presented at the Scripps Howard State of the First Amendment address on Zoom this Thursday, November 17th at 6 p.m. Congratulations, Scooby.
That is all for your Wildcat news for today.
Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the latest. Have a great night.